The morning after the oath, Madame Stella's voice woke them before dawn. "Get up," she barked, clapping her hands. "Your work begins today." Cynthia's stomach clenched. She had barely slept, her mind replaying the blood oath and the razor sting. Her heart longed to believe it was all a mistake, that somehow Stella would still take them to a school. But when Stella threw a bundle of cheap clothes on the floor, the truth slapped harder than a whip. "Wear these," she ordered. The girls unfolded the clothes and froze. Short skirts, see-through tops, and high heels. Cynthia felt her knees weaken. "Auntie, this is not..." Before she could finish, Stella's hand cracked across her cheek. The slap rang in the small room like a gunshot. "You dare question me again?" Madame Stella hissed, her eyes burning. "Didn't I tell you? You belong to me now. You'll wear what I give you. You do what I say, or you'll regret ever being born." The room went silent. Cynthia touched her stinging face, tears welling up, but she swallowed her words. By evening, the girls were lined up outside the apartment, faces pale, hearts racing. The Scarface driver handed Stella a leather bag. She pulled out condoms and tossed packets at each girl as though handing out sweets. "Use this. If a man refuses, you still do what he wants. Bring me my money. If you disobey, remember the oath." The van dropped them off on a dimly lit street where cars prowled slowly. Men's eyes shining with hunger. The air smelled of alcohol, cigarettes, and danger. Cynthia's heart pounded as Stella pushed her forward. "Stand there. Smile. Don't waste time. Each man is money. You owe me." When the first man stopped his car and called her over, she froze. Her legs refused to move. The man grew impatient, honking. Stella's nails dug into her arm. "Go, or you'll see what I'll do to you." Cynthia forced herself forward. That night was a nightmare carved into her soul forever. One after another, men used her. Rough hands, harsh words, foul smells. She lost count after the 10th, but Stella didn't. Stella stood nearby in the van, calculating, counting, watching like a hawk. By the end of the night, Cynthia's body ached, her legs trembled, and her soul fell torn into pieces. When she staggered back to the apartment, she collapsed onto the mattress. She stared blankly at the ceiling until morning, her body numb, her mind screaming silently, "This is not me. This is not what I came here for." But there was no escape. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The routine was the same: stand on the street. Endure 20 men a night, return broken, hand over the money. If any girl complained, Stella's punishment was swift. She withheld food, beat them with belts, or locked them in dark closets for days. Cynthia carried her pain like a second skin. Every night she remembered her mother, the land she sold, the promises she clung to. She pictured herself in a nurse's uniform, healing patients, saving lives, but Madame Stella had shattered it all. But inside her, something was shifting. Madame Stella thought she had broken them, but Cynthia was quietly building strength from her pain. One night, after another brutal shift, Cynthia collapsed on her mattress. Ngozi, her friend, was sitting beside her. "I can't continue like this. I will have to find a way to leave here, either by hook or by crook." "Cynthia, are you not afraid? We will die if we try to leave." "The oath, we took an oath." Cynthia turned to face her. "I would rather die trying to escape than live like this for 6 years." Ngozi shivered. "People who try to run, disappear. Haven't you seen?" Cynthia's voice was steady, though her heart raced. "Then, I will be different. I can't do this anymore. I'll find a way." As Cynthia lay awake, staring into the darkness, her mind battled itself. If she stayed, her soul would wither away, 6 years of torment stretching endlessly before her. If she tried to escape, the oath and Stella's threats loomed like vultures. Her pulse quickened. Should I risk it? Should I fight back? Or will I vanish like the others? The questions clawed at her chest, but one thing became clear: she could not endure another 6 years. The seed of defiance had been planted, and in the quiet of that foreign room, Cynthia made a silent vow. "One day, I will escape. One day, I will end her reign of terror." The night Cynthia decided she could no longer take it finally came. That day had been the worst. Over 20 men had passed through her like she was nothing but a ragged doll, and as she called in pain, she whispered to herself, "If I die tonight, at least let me die free." For weeks, She had studied the compound, its gates, its guards, its noises. She knew Madame Stella traveled often between Nigeria and Italy, leaving her men to control the girls. That night, the compound was unusually quiet, except for one man, Musa, the Nigerian security guard Stella trusted. Cynthia had noticed him many times. Unlike the others, his eyes were not cruel. He never jeered at the girls, never raised a hand against them. As Cynthia sat trembling in the corner, Musa approached silently. He looked around, making sure no one was listening. Then he crouched and whispered, "Sister, you no go survive this life. You want to die here. You better run." Cynthia's heart skipped. Could she trust him? Or was this another trap, another way Stella broke girls' spirits? But Musa pressed a small, rusty key into her palm. By midnight. Back gate. Don't talk. Just run. When he walked away, Cynthia's hand trembled so hard she almost dropped the key. Her mind screamed at her, what if it's a trick? What if the oath kills me? What if Stella finds out? But her soul whispered, what if this is your only chance? At midnight, she crept out. Her bare feet kissed the cold ground, every creak of the wooden stair sounding like thunder in her ears. She clutched her chest, praying Madame Stella would not appear from the shadows. At the back gate, Musa was waiting. His face was drenched with sweat. He unlocked the padlock slowly, the metal groaning as though announcing her escape. When the gate slid open, he looked her in the eye one last time. "Run," he mouthed, and she did. Cynthia ran like a hunted animal, the wind slicing against her skin, her breath loud in her ears. She didn't stop until she smelled salt in the air, the ocean. Her legs almost gave out when she saw the dark outline of ships at the harbor. She stumbled forward, clutching her ribs, her mind screaming for her to hide. There it was, a rusty old cargo ship, larger than the others, its back door loosely shut. She dragged herself to it, pushed it open, and slipped inside. The darkness swallowed her. She fell onto sacks of dry goods, too weak to move. For the next 7 days, Cynthia lived like a ghost. She had no food, no water, nothing but her own tears. Hunger carved her stomach like knives. Thirst burned her throat raw. But she clung to one memory, the look on her mother's face when she once said, "My daughter, one day, you'll wear your white nurse's uniform." Meanwhile, back in Nigeria, Madame Stella was in high spirits. She had returned to recruit more girls, smiling her poisonous smile, promising poor families heaven while plotting their daughter's hell. She had no idea that across the ocean, the girl she thought she owned was about to destroy everything she built. When the ship finally docked in Nigeria, the workers unloading cargo heard a faint sound, a weak cough, a fragile whimper. They tore open the sacks and gasped. Lying there was a girl, skin pale, lips cracked, body trembling like a leaf in the wind. It was Cynthia, barely alive. She was rushed to the hospital. When she opened her eyes after 2 days, she didn't cry for herself. She didn't beg for food. She whispered hoarsely, "Please, the girls. Italy. Madame Stella. Help them." Her testimony ignited something powerful. Nigerian authorities contacted international agencies. Within weeks, a coordinated raid began. In Nigeria, Madame Stella's hotel door was smashed open. She stood in her expensive robe, her wig tilted, her face twisted in rage. "Do you know who I am?" she screamed, but the handcuffs cut her words short. In Italy, Stella's allies were hunted down. Safe houses were raided. Dozens of girls, broken and malnourished, were rescued. Back in her village, Cynthia returned home. Her mother fainted when she saw her, skin and bones but alive. When she woke, she clung to her daughter, weeping so hard the neighbors gathered. Cynthia whispered, "Mama, I'm back." The government stepped in, recognizing her bravery. She was given therapy, security, and a scholarship to pursue nursing, the dream Stella had tried to bury. And Madame Stella. She rotted behind iron bars, her wealth gone, her allies scattered. Her name became a curse, her empire of pain nothing but dust. But Cynthia. She walked into her future with scars that told a story. A story of pain, but also of victory. As much as good things looks beautiful to the eyes, we must learn to be cautious, because many fake promises has led our young promising girls to indulge in acts they never signed up for. I hope you enjoyed this series. If you did, please kindly support me by subscribing to my channel, drop a beautiful comment and like the video. Till we see again, bye.